Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Felita. I hope that you all are having a wonderful, wonderful day. I wanted to come out to you and give you an update to let you know how my appointment went on yesterday um, with my with my visit to see my oncologist. Um, First of all, let me just say my apologies for not getting the video out on yesterday. We had an emergency on yesterday. Something happened with my daughter's house and it just took precedence. And so we had to drop everything and make sure that um, everything was okay at her place. So all is well at her place. We've gotten her taken care of. So it was a very eventful day on yesterday. And it's been pretty eventful today as well. But I just realized that I forgot to do the video. So I wanted to come out to you today before the end of the day to make sure that I shoot this video so that I can give you an update. So, first of all, let me start off by telling you all that when I first received my diagnosis on June 14th, I was actually scheduled on June 27th to have my port installed. June 27th, I believe it was on a Thursday, but the day before that I was actually scheduled, I was in my prayer time. And at the end of my prayer time, I had this very, very uneasy feeling within me. And I just broke down in tears. I just cried. I started crying uncontrollably. And I had this very uneasy feeling within me, and I sensed within that spirit was telling me to cancel. And I actually literally heard those words, call and cancel the appointment. So I called and canceled the port installation appointment. I was supposed to have started my first chemo session on July the 8th, but because I canceled that port installation appointment, um, I couldn't start on that date. So I basically postponed chemo. And the reason why I did that was because my doctors could not give me enough conclusive evidence about my status. When I would ask about my stage, they couldn't give me any concrete evidence as far as my stage. When they did the biopsy, um, they couldn't even tell me a stage at that point. So I felt as though if they could not give me more information, I was not ready and willing to allow chemo, the poison, to go in my body. I was just not ready for that. I felt like if I had been given this diagnosis, I felt as though I should have had a little bit more proof, a little bit more concrete evidence, and they just would not give me that. So I made the decision to postpone chemo. And now that I think about it, and after my appointment with my oncologist on yesterday, I do believe I was guided by spirit, because it was a blessing that I did cancel that appointment. So I was willing to deal with the consequences of what might happen between that time that I was actually diagnosed up until my surgery time. So technically it was like 2.5 months that I had gone with no treatment at all. I found out about a product. It's called Graviola, and I started taking Graviola, and I started taking some other supplements that I had done my own personal research on, to try to at least slow down the process, or slow down the spread of the disease. So even though when I did have the surgery, it did spread to that one lymph node. And I told you in my last update that all of the other lymph nodes, the surgeon removed a total of 17 lymph nodes, but only one lymph node was infected. And she said that the reason why all of the other lymph nodes was removed was because that was taken as a precaution in case, it might, because it was those in that surrounding area of the one. So they did that. She did that as a precautionary measure. So I was willing to deal with the consequences. So it did spread to the one. So, but when my pathology report came back, everything else was negative. Absolutely everything was negative. So I know it was just the grace of God that was definitely with me during that 2.5 months that I went with no treatment at all. And I even questioned as to whether or not the tumor shrunk somewhat, because when I asked my oncologist about it, she didn't even respond to me. So, as I mentioned before, I think the tumor, when they did the biopsy, it came back at 2.6 centimeters. And then, of course, when I had the surgery, it came back at 1.5, I believe it was. So all I can say is that the grace of God was definitely with me, and I am so truly grateful and thankful for that. So let me tell you about the appointment on yesterday. So my husband and I met with my oncologist on yesterday, and we did get some good news. Let me tell you, my original treatment plan, they had me scheduled for a total of 9 treatments. I was originally diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, which is the worst cancer you can actually be diagnosed with as far as breast cancer is concerned. Triple negative is very aggressive. They don't have any targeted treatment for triple negative breast cancer. So I totally dismissed that thought from my mind of how aggressive it actually is, because the way I see it as is that if you have cancer, cancer is cancer no matter what. It's still a tumor. It's still an invasion in your body, and it's still something that you still have to have treatment for. So my oncologist requested a second pathology report, and it turns out on the same day that I met with my surgeon for my follow-up visit, the second pathology report came back on the same day that I actually had my follow-up visit, which was on September the 4th. It was on the same day. They got it back the same day. I met with my surgeon that afternoon. I believe I had a 1 o'clock appointment. I met with her at 1 o'clock. The second pathology report came in at 5:06. I was reading the report because I do have a copy of the report. And when I read the report, it turns out that I was misdiagnosed. So after the second report came back, apparently they took my specimens, all of my tissues and everything, the tumor and everything. Apparently it must have gone before a board or something, because I read on the report that it was some type of conference that the diagnosis came back. But anyway, to make a long story short, The second pathology report came back the very same day that I met with my surgeon, which was on September the 4th, but it came in after I had met with her. They staged me as stage 2B, so which means that I am, still early. It's still really early. And instead of, they misdiagnosed me and said that I was, originally said that I was triple negative, but the second pathology report came back, said that I am actually classified as HER2. Now, there are basically 3 or 4 different breast cancers that you can actually be diagnosed with. And my oncologist said that if you were actually diagnosed with any of the breast cancers, she said that HER2 would be the one that you would want to be diagnosed with. I still don't see it any different. However, she said that being classified now as HER2, there is more targeted treatment for people who are diagnosed with HER2, whereas with triple negative, they don't have any targeted treatment. So in the beginning, before I actually had the surgery, they actually had me scheduled for a total of 9 chemotherapy treatments. 9 chemotherapy treatments. So after my new diagnosis, I now only have to do a total of 6, which is one of the things that I was praying for. I did not want to do a total of 9. And in the beginning, they had me in treatments every other week. So I was doing 1 treatment every other week. So now under my new treatment plan, I only have to do 1 treatment every 3 weeks. So it's a little bit further spread out now. Now, when it comes to the actual treatment, the actual chemo, the only difference that I could see with the chemo that has been prescribed for the new diagnosis is that there's 60% hair loss. So I've already pretty much accepted that I'll be losing all of my hair. So my husband and I will be twins. As a matter of fact, I told him that he's going to have to cut it off when the time comes, because I understand that after your first treatment, your hair starts to fall out within 2 weeks after the first treatment. So my husband has said that we'll just be twins during that time. So I'll probably be sporting a wig and sporting some little caps or whatever, some scarves, some cute little scarves during that time. Now, the disadvantage of what I did not want to hear is that after the 6 treatments, after the 6 chemo treatments, I will have to do a total of 1 year of targeted therapy, which is basically medicine. I'll have to do that again every 3 weeks for up to a year. So technically, I won't be finished with all of my treatments until October next year. So I was not happy to hear that, but I am ready to move forward to go ahead and get this behind me. And I recognize that it's just part of the process, and I just have to accept what is. So I am very happy to hear that there is this treatment plan, and under my new diagnosis, I am happy to hear that there is more targeted therapy that will help to combat any of the possible leftover cancer cells. I still walk and believe that I am healed, in spite of what the doctors may say. I just know that it's all part of medical protocol, that they won't give you NED until you go through the actual process. I already know that. I continue to test my pH level every single day. I am still ranging in the 7.0 range, which is a good thing. Normally, when the tumor was in my body, I'm sorry, I just realized that something turned over here. But when the tumor was in my body, I never got past 6.0. And so now when I measure my pH level, I am measuring between 7.0 and 7.5, somewhere around in there. And one thing I do know is that when your pH level is high, cancer cannot survive in a body that's measuring 7.0 and above. So I do know that for a fact. So if you ask me, I believe that I am already healed. Again, it's just part of the process, so I just have to go through this process. So I am so happy that I listened, and I followed what my intuitive voice was telling me. When my intuitive voice told me to call and cancel that initial appointment, and I obeyed. I am so happy that I did, because they would have been treating me for the wrong diagnosis. So I am so happy and so thankful. And normally, under that treatment plan, I would have had a total of 9 chemotherapy appointments or chemotherapy treatments. So now I'll only have 6. Even though they're saying right now that I will be on this medication for a year, I'm believing God that it's not going to be that long. I just trust and believe God that everything is going to come back good, and I'm not going to have to go that long. I stand on that. I stand on that. So now my port install is scheduled for October the 3rd. And it's going to be scheduled as outpatient surgery. And I'll go in. It'll take I think they said it'll take a couple of hours. And I won't be able to drive on that day. So my husband will be taking me to the appointment. And of course, he'll have to drive me back home as well. So the port is scheduled the port installation is scheduled for October the 3rd, and my first official chemotherapy appointment is scheduled for Thursday, October the 10th. It's going to be, she said that the first appointment will be the longest. It's going to be about 3.5 hours long. I am not looking forward to it, but again, I recognize that it is part of the process. And I'm just ready to get this behind me so that I can move forward. I've already made up in my mind that, with this diagnosis, it's not going to stop me from doing anything. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to continue to grow my businesses. I'm going to continue to share the love. I'm going to continue to inspire other people. Cancer is just a light affliction on this journey called life, and all of us have different trials, and all of us have different tribulations. It's just that I happen to be dealt with the trial of cancer, and so that's it. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's starting to get dark out here, and I wanted to come out to you and share that with you before the day goes by. So thank you so much for listening. If you have any other questions or anything, please feel free to leave them for me in the comment box. All I can say is God is good. That's all I can say. I will continue to praise God throughout this entire journey, because I've seen some miracles take place. I've seen God sustain me throughout this entire journey. I see myself, how much I'm growing through this entire process. I was talking to my aunt last night, and I was telling my aunt, I said, this journey has seemed like it's increasing my faith now, even more now. I thought that I was a woman of faith before, but this journey has really, really taken me to a new level. The things that I thought that I feared, I don't fear anymore. When I feel that fear and that procrastination come up now, I tell myself, girl, get over it. If you can face cancer, you can face anything. So get over it. I find myself taking action much quicker now, whereas to before, I used to procrastinate about a lot of things. But now I'm no longer procrastinating. When I feel it, I move just like that, and without a question, without a doubt or anything. So again, I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And also, if you're not already subscribed, please be sure to click on the subscribe button so that you can get updates when I post my next video. Okay, guys, so until the next video, take care, take charge. I love you. Peace and blessings to you, and bye for now.